So I think the biggest challenge that B2B marketers have in the year ahead is responding and activating on the increasing importance of digital. As we talked about today, we've seen rapid acceleration, even over the last 4 years, of the influence of mobile and video in particular, which were in the 20 or 30% of B2B researchers using as recently as 4 years ago, and now we're seeing the vast majority up into the 80+% range for those formats. So I think the biggest challenge ahead is for companies who may not, in other circumstances, have the DNA built in to move quickly, to be able to take it to move their marketing dollars to where the B2B researchers' eyeballs are. So when you think about multi-screen in the digital world, increasingly the anchor device is becoming mobile. So I think the big challenge for companies, whether B2B or otherwise, is to try to put themselves in a mobile-first mindset when creating web pages and designing pages, and whether it's forms for lead gen purposes or checkout experiences for e-commerce. It's to think mobile first and provide as frictionless an experience and as high caliber user experience on a mobile device as they can. Yeah, so with regard to that cross-device question, it's looking a lot more like and so I think the biggest challenge for marketers is to think about whether they have programs in place to help understand that cross-device usage, particularly research that starts on a phone and then finishes on desktop, in the form of longer lead cycle purchases or perhaps higher ticket value purchases or highly technical ones. Do the B2B companies and their marketing teams have the ability to understand how the customer journey is evolving, how mobile is being used throughout the process? And then do they have the ability to measure what's happening on one device and then crossing over to another? Yeah, so as we talked about today, the big headliner is how much how much video is being used in B2B and how much of that is on a mobile device. And so the beauty with all things digital is to be able to test which creative is more compelling, what length of video is more compelling. And increasingly there's options out there that allow users to decide as a viewer whether they want to watch the ad or not, including our TrueView ad format. So I think the beauty is to be able to do the testing to understand what's resonating with the audience and to allow for sharing and to focus on creating content that primarily is seeking to either inform or entertain the audience, because that's what the research is saying that B2B researchers are looking for. Yeah, so we see success across all kinds of video, whether it's the high gloss, Madison Avenue style agency, or the person with, their handheld device. I think of the first layer of video content trying to answer questions about how to. So think of that sort of primary base level of content that's the always-on equivalent of a search campaign, and that could take any format, including, individual employee sitting in the workplace demonstrating a product or service.